All right, we're back here on the GSMC Football Podcast, and for the third part of the show, we're going to get into talking about some of the college football matchups for this weekend, as well as getting into the early slate of games for Sunday in the NFL. So, I did want to. I know I talked about it on one of the previous shows, the previous week in college football. Just some takeaways. That loss by Notre Dame at home. Yeah, that was rough. This is a team that, the week before they beat Texas A&M on the road, and listening to the broadcast there, and that this was going to be the toughest game on their schedule, and then they go home and they lay an egg like that. That's rough. And I know in the production meeting, our college football host Tommy was talking about it and how no matter what they do, they should not be a playoff team. And sure, he's not the only person saying that. The Michigan-Texas game kind of went as I expected. I mean, Michigan's offense week one, I know they got the win, but was not great. Texas is one of the best teams in the country. So I did expect, Texas to, kind of dominate that game. Was not surprised by I watched Nebraska and Colorado. Again, Colorado's defense is not good. And I will be seeing Nebraska when I go, and because I'm going to be going with some buddies down to Ohio State to watch Ohio State-Nebraska, and that could be a very good game. Wasn't really surprised by that either. So, yeah. Also, watched a little bit of Miller Moss, USC. He looks good. He looks good so far. So, looking like a good replacement for Caleb right now. But, yeah, that's just, some quick little takes that I got. But, yeah, for the slate this weekend, so got a couple of games tonight. You got UNLV taking on Kansas, and you also have number 20 ranked Arizona against number 14 ranked Kansas State. KSU is a 7-point favorite over Arizona. That game will be on Fox tonight. So that that's a game to pay attention to. Also, looking at the Saturday games, you got Alabama and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's the home team. They're a 16-point underdog. You also got Memphis against Florida State. Can Florida State get a win? Maybe. Memphis is 2-0 on the season. Florida State is 0-2. I mean, it's been a rough go for them after going undefeated last year. LSU at South Carolina. That's on ABC. South Carolina's 2-0. LSU is 1-1. South Carolina's a 6.5-point underdog. So, that could be a good game. Boston College is now ranked. They are 2-0. They're going to be going up against Missouri, who's, a top 10 team. They're 6th in the rankings. They're a 15.5-point favorite. I'd probably lean towards taking them. But, yeah, an impressive, win by Boston College, beating Florida State. But, yeah, I think I would say they lose that game. Some of the other games here, I mean, again, you got Oregon State and Oregon. Oregon's a 16.5-point favorite there. I'm trying to see if there's any. I got UConn and Duke. Yeah, that's a good basketball matchup there. Texas, they are at home taking on UTSA. I mean, and they're favored by 35.5. So, probably take Texas in that. Or you are going to take Texas. Actually, one of the big games this weekend is Colorado and Colorado State. This was a very high-scoring game last year. Colorado State's been doing a lot of talking this week. They're +7. I might take that. I know when I was talking to some friends last night when we were watching the Thursday night game, could be a trap, but yeah, I don't know. I think I might take Colorado State in that game, but we'll see. But yeah, that's just some of the games. I mean, not the best slate. And again, this is coming from me, who's not a college football expert, but that's really my my thoughts. So yeah, probably try to watch the Alabama game. I do want to watch the Colorado State game. Definitely want to tune in for that. But yeah, no, that's my thoughts on some of the games there. Again, not the best slate for Saturday, but yeah, that's what's on tap there. So now let's get into the early window games in the NFL. So we'll start off with the Raiders and the Ravens. So the Raiders, they lost to the Chargers 22-10. The Ravens losing that tough game to the Chiefs last week. Ravens are a 9.5-point favorite at home. It's a lot of points, but you know what? I think the Ravens get the win here, and I think they do win by a couple of scores as well. I know Gardner Minshew went on the road last year and beat the Ravens, but that was a member of the Colts. I think this is going to be a tough game for the Raiders, so I think they're going to fall to 0-2 here. And I feel confident that the Ravens can cover this number, even though it's a big number. Chargers and the Panthers. Speaking of the Chargers, 6.5-point favorites on the road against the Panthers. J.K. Dobbins had a great game. Also, shout out to Joe Alt, their first-round draft pick. I mean, he locked down Max Crosby. So, that was a great pick. I mean, I know people wanted the Chargers to maybe take a receiver. I mean, they still did with Ladd McConkey, but, they wanted to take, Neighbors or, Roma Dunze. But, they waited on a receiver. They got, they got their receiver. And, to protect Herbert, that's big. And, the running game was effective. J.K. Dobbins, let's see what kind of encore performance he can have here. But, yeah, I just think the Panthers are bad. The Panthers are bad. Again, Herbert's trying to still get on the same page with his receivers. So, this offense is going to get better as the season progresses with Justin Herbert healthy. So, yeah, I'm taking the Chargers here and laying the points. Couple other games here. So you got the Saints and the Cowboys. The Saints all over the Panthers last week, 47-10, and the Cowboys, a good performance against the Browns. I mean, the Cowboys played well, but that was more about how bad the Browns were, in my opinion. And yeah, it's an interesting game. Look, I know the Saints looked really good against the Panthers, but I think this game is going to bring them back to reality. The Cowboys are good at home. Again, 6.5 is, it's a decent sized number. I don't like laying the points, but I'm going to lean towards the Cowboys being at home. So I'm going to take them in that matchup. Then we got another playoff rematch from last year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Detroit Lions. Lions getting that win in overtime, 26-20 over the Rams, and the Buccaneers dominating the Commanders 37-20. Baker Mayfield 4 touchdown passes. The Bucs are getting 7 points in this game, and the line started at 5.5, and now it's gone up to 7. That's a big number. And the Bucs, they played the Lions tough in that playoff game. I don't like. It's a tough call. I do have the Bucs with the points. I do think the Lions will still win the game, but I think I still gotta go. I gotta take the points here, with the Buccaneers. But I think the Lions do win this game. Should be a good game though. Then we move on. You got the Packers and the Colts. Packers are 3.5-point underdogs. There is no Jordan Love in this game. Also, Josh Jacobs is dealing with a little bit of a back issue, but I think he should still. He's been limited in practice, but I think he should be able to play. But yeah, the Packers lost to the Eagles in Brazil, and Anthony Richardson and the Colts, they did lose to the Texans, but Anthony Richardson played really well against the Texans. And I expect them to play well here. I think the Colts do get this win on the road. I mean, Malik Willis starting. I don't think that's going to go well for the Packers. So I like the Colts to win and cover. But we'll see. It's Packers home opener. So, the crowd's going to bring it. Then we got the Browns and the Jaguars coming off of 2 disappointing losses in different ways. The Browns just looked flat. Deshaun Watson did not play well at all. And the Jaguars had a 10-point lead against the Dolphins, and they lost it. 14-point lead against the Dolphins, and they lost it. But the Jags are 3.5-point favorites. I like the Jags in this game to win and cover. I was going back and forth because I'm like, you know what? I feel like the Browns could get back on track, but I don't know. Deshaun Watson did not play well, and I think the Jags, in their home opener, I think they'll bounce back and get the win here. So I'm going to take them. Then we got the 49ers and the Vikings. Vikings are 6-point underdogs at home, coming off of a win against the Giants. The 49ers coming off of their win against the Jets. We'll see what happens with Christian McCaffrey, if he does play or not. I'm going to say the 49ers win, but I think the Vikings are going to give them some fits. They got playmakers on offense. I like the Vikings defense, and they gave Brock Purdy problems last year, and I don't think Jordan Mason is going to have the same game that he did against the Jets. So Brock Purdy's going to have to throw the ball more. But you know what? I actually do like the Vikings to cover here. It's their home opener. They're getting 6 points. That's a lot of points. Of course, the 49ers defense could take over the game and, turn Sam Darnold back into, the Sam Darnold that, some people are accustomed to seeing. But no, I think Darnold's going to play okay in this game because of the playmakers that he has. But, yeah, 6 is a big number. I like the 49ers to win, but I like the Vikings to cover. Then you got the Seahawks and the Patriots. Seahawks coming off a win over the Broncos. Patriots coming off of a win over the Bengals. They're a 3-point underdog at home. I actually do like the Patriots in this game to win and cover. I was not impressed by Seattle's offense last week. I know Kenneth Walker had a good game, but he got banged up. I don't know. The Patriots, it's not like they played great, but they have a good defense. And, Jacoby Brissett managed the game, and Rajay Stevenson, played well. I don't know. You got 2 rookie head coaches, but, the Patriots are at home. I don't know. We'll see. I at least like the Patriots to cover. Maybe winning outright is a little too out there, but they got a shot to do it. And I actually will take them to upset the Seahawks. I'll take a risk there. All right, so now we got the New York teams left. Jets and the Titans. Titans are 4-point underdogs at home. Jets coming off of that loss against the 49ers, and the Titans were up 17-0, and they blew it against the Bears. I actually like the Titans to cover. I think they'll be able to run the ball well with Tony Pollard had a good game against the Bears. I'm going to say he does well again. But Will Levis is going to have to do better than his performance against the Bears last week. And I think Aaron Rodgers will play well. Like I said, I think it'll be a competitive game. But I think the Jets get the win, but I have the Titans covering. It's gonna be a tough game for the Jets, but I'm going to say they win. And then finally, got the Giants and the Commanders. The Giants are 2.5-point underdogs. This is a team that they always beat. I'm going to say they do continue that trend, but I would not be surprised if they lose this game. The Commanders have a new quarterback now in place, in Jane Daniels. And showed flashes last week. The rushing ability that's going to be a problem for the Giants, but listen, Daniel Jones, if you don't play well against the Commanders, that potentially could be it for him. I don't know. But I'm going to say the Giants get the win here, and they bounce back because they own Washington. But if you don't beat Washington, like I said, it's a big problem. That's pretty much it when it comes to this segment. Let me know what you guys think. Out of all the games we talked about, what's something you're focusing on this weekend when it comes to these games. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we will get into previewing the late window games for Sunday. I know we covered Chiefs-Bengals, and we are going to cover Texans-Bears in the last segment. So a couple games on the slate that we will get to when we come back from our next break. So with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.